Today we are going to look in on at percentage calculations and finding percentages of things. This first question is pretty straightforward, especially if you've got a calculator. If you don't have a calculator, you might have to work with decimals and fractions, and it takes a fair bit of time. I feel like that's often a wasted energy. Rather, we've got a calculator that helps us. But think straight away. If 100% is the full number, 12% is close to 10% of it, like dividing by 10. So my answer should be somewhere around, if I was going to divide 180 by 10, 18. But, as I said, got a calculator. Let me type it into the calculator so we can see it. And the other thing I want to say, your calculators make it so easy. I type in the number 12. I can press the shift and percentage key, and then I do times, because of is times, 180. Just press that, press equals, and look at that. Question 1 here, I'll just write it over here so you can see it. The answer is 21. But notice the question, it's $180, so it's going to be $21.60. It's that straightforward, just type it in as you see it. What about this second one? 5.5% of 270. Now remember again, yesterday I taught you, you press the shift key and then the fraction button, so you get that mixed numeral out the front, all right? And we get the whole thing. So let's clear this, type it in. So first I press shift, then I'm going to press the fraction button, and then I'll get the cool little fraction there. 5, then I press to the right to get the next bit. 1, press to the right again to get the second part of the denominator. Press to the right again to get out of the fraction. Percent, so 5.5% times 270. Okay, now gives it to me as a fraction, 297 over 20. But if I'm dealing with dollars, I don't know about you, in the old days we used to use these things called dollar note or notes. If I'm going to give somebody 297 over 20 notes, I don't know what that is. I need to convert it to a decimal. And that's where these calculators are so powerful. You just press the S to D button, $270, $14.85. Now I've done an estimate in my head. If it was 10%, okay, it'd be $27. I divide that by 2 because it's 5%. $14.85 sounds about right. So always be doing estimates as you do these questions. So to find a percentage of a quantity, just type it in your calculator. All right, let's move on to our next question, where we actually this time want to increase by a percentage. Now, again, I'm going to say you can use your calculator. But let me show you the maths that we're really using for this sort of question. If I'm going to increase, is my answer going to be higher or lower than 180? Higher, okay? It needs to be more because I'm increasing. So, it's going to be 180 plus 6% of 180. All right? That's what I'm doing. I'm doing 180 plus 6% of it. Now, if you recognise and can factorise, which is what we've already done, you would actually recognise that's going to be 180 times 1.06%. Okay, or 106%. That's a shortening of it. If that's where you stop, that's fine, just do that. But I can actually do that. So I can type both in my calculator and still get the same answer. So let's have a look. So if I do 180 plus
And I'll just do it this way to start with, 180 times 6%. There's my percent, good. And what do I get? 190.8. Is that more than 180?
Yep.
Is it only just a little bit more?
Yep.
Yeah.
Good, that's what I'm looking for. So my answer, when I do it using that way of calculating, is $190.80. Not 0.8, but 80 cents. But let's do it the other way, just to show you the shortcut method and how it works. So what I said is it's 180 times, well, it's actually 106%. And what do we get? That same answer, $190.80. Yeah? Okay. That's for increasing. What about for decreasing?
Dividing.
Is it dividing, or is it going to be bigger or smaller than 112?
Smaller.
Smaller. Is it going to be much smaller?
No.
No.
Not too much, a little bit. 15%, it's just a bit more than 10% less, it's like 10% off.
Yes.
If I decrease that by 10%, I'm taking off about 11, so I'm looking close to 15. Should be how much I'm down by. Let's have a look at how to do it though. Because really what we're doing is 112 minus 15% of 112. Okay? Now, when it's minus, that makes it a little bit different. So if I was to use this method, that would be equal to 112 times times 85%. Because I'm doing 100% minus 15%, I get 85. If this is the way that makes sense to you, use it. But you can actually shortcut it slightly by doing that. So let's type that in. See how we go. First, of course, I make sure I clear. So I'm going to do 112 minus, what was it? 15%. So 15%. Of course, you can do this quicker than I can do it, because you've just got the calculator in front of you, times 112. And what's my answer? $95.2 kilograms. Does that sound about right?
Yeah.
According to our estimate earlier?
Not bad.
Yes. Because remember we said it's 112, 15% is about 15 off, down about 15. All right? Just quick rough estimate. Always estimate. So I've done it that way. You could do it the shorter way if you want. All right. How are we going? I hope you're going all right, because we've got a little bit more, and this time I've got a fair few notes for you. So here's the notes that you'll want to get down, because this is where we're using it to work some stuff out. All right. A few days ago I gave you a test. You got a result. So often we want to know what is that as a percentage, because then I can compare it more easily between tests. That's the benefit of this sort of thing. Okay, so when it comes to percentage calculations, expressing quantities as percentages. To express one quantity as a percentage of another, what we do is we write the amount divided by, or as a fraction of the whole amount, multiplied by 100%, and then we have the percentage. That's the idea.
Can we do it?
So we're going to do these two questions? Yes. Let's have a look.
Can we come back and last?
Yeah, you could go back. Let's do this first and then you could go and do that one. Yeah? So, question 1 here. Let's have a look at it. Matthew scores 37 out of 45 in a science test. What is his percentage mark? So, percentage is equal to the amount. So I'll write that here just so that you can see what I'm doing. Over the whole amount times 100%. So, Matthew scored 37. out of the whole amount, which is 45, times 100%. Now, I'm not that good with fractions. I need to use my calculator. So I come back, I grab my calculator, I clear what's on there. I can then just use the fraction, just a normal fraction button. I don't need the mixed numeral. 37, press across to the right, 45, press across to the right,
Oh.
times 100 equals, oh, I don't like that number.
0 point.
Let's change it to a decimal. And what do I get? 82.22222222. It looks like it's 82.2 repeater. Normally when you're doing percentages like this, you don't really want to go beyond one decimal place. So I might write to one decimal place to show that I've rounded it off.
Can't you do that, the little dot there?
Well, I don't know 100% for sure that will repeat forever. All the calculator is showing me is those number of decimal points, number of places. So I'd much rather just say that it's to one decimal place. Then I'm showing I'm just rounding off. All right, let's have a look at question 2. This one's a bit more specific. So let's go and have a look. Here, what percentage, correct to one decimal place, is 35 seconds of 4 minutes? 35 seconds of 4 minutes. So we write our amount, 35 seconds, over our whole amount, which is 4 minutes, times 100%. What's my problem?
You need it in seconds instead of, or yeah, you need seconds.
Yeah, because this percentage just is not comparing the same measurement, all right? So, we need to know how many seconds in 4 minutes.
240.
Yeah, 240, good. So we can change that now to 35 over 240 times 100%. Again, let's just use our calculator. That'll make it the easiest we can do. And so, make sure I clear first. Use my fraction button again. 35, press to the right, 240, press to the right, times 100 equals, oh, don't like that, so let's do it that way.
14.
Now, it asked me to do it to one decimal place. So at the moment I've got 14.58333333. What is it?
14.6.
Okay, it is 14.6. What do? I look at the second number after the decimal point. If it is 5 or more, then the first number needs to go up. If it's 5 or if it's less than 5, it stays as it is. So in this case, it's 14.6%. And again, I like to write one decimal place, just so it's really clear that's what I've done. Year 9, our calculator makes these questions really straightforward, but we need to make sure we can do it whenever we're asked, so we need to practice, practice, practice.